It is the Polychromatic Momentum Indicator. And I don't have anything clever to say for the opener, so let's just get right into the good stuff. So this is an interesting one, and I'll tell you why. It's not going to look interesting on the surface, but it kind of is. I think this episode is going to be interesting, and it's going to set up future episodes. So pay close attention. Now, if you are new, we make videos like this all the time. This is the premier indicator channel on YouTube, always has been. But a lot of things we say aren't going to make a lot of sense to you just because of the way we talk and the way we do things. So go to nononsenseforex.com, watch that first video, read that first page, and get started. It's a lot of videos you're going to have to catch up on, but that's okay. You're going to love the process, assuming you're one of us, which I hope you are. But for everybody else, let's go ahead and get into the specs on the PMI. The year is going to be 2002. You see a lot of indicators coming out in 2002. My guess is because I think that's when Stocks and Commodities magazine first came out in e-form, like you could actually read it online. And that magazine was responsible, like we said before, for showcasing all these brand new modern trading indicators that people hadn't seen before. So that is my best guess as to why the number 2002 keeps popping up. But everything else is pretty run-of-the-mill. It's a confirmation indicator, zero cross. I don't like it for exits, but there you go. And then when we look at it, you might take a look at this thing and be like, you know what, this looks pretty garbage. Now, if you don't know, when the green crosses and closes above this zero line here, that's going to be a long signal. And when it goes short, let's find a cleaner one right here. When it does the same thing to the downside, that's going to be your short signal. Now again, this thing looks like trash from the start because you have a lot of chop in some of these areas. But if you look closer, like this is really bad. But a lot of times it'll give you a false signal, a really quick one, so the loss isn't bad. But then when it gets you going in the right direction again, it's a nice signal. Or like on this short right here, you had the chop, but once it got you short, it was a nice signal and it kept you there. Nothing, I mean, you wouldn't use this for an exit indicator anyway, but it's one of those things at first glance doesn't look great. On second and third glance, looks better than it actually is. And this little phenomenon is going to come into play later once we see the results. But before we do that, understand that no matter what the results say, it doesn't mean anything. The only thing that matters is how these things perform in your system. So even if we show you indicators that have subpar results compared to some of the other indicators we show you, take it every bit as seriously as you do the others. Always add these to your toolbox. Always test these yourself. Now you might be saying out loud or in your head, but VP, how do I test these on my own? Well, I got you covered, homie. Links below in the description are as follows. First one takes you to my automation blog that has an embedded video right there on how to test these yourself on the MT4 strategy tester. You're also getting the blog from Stonehill Forex that shows you everything. The tweak settings, the history, the mechanics, all the stuff you really need to know right there. We're going to give you Dan Stone's second email address for if you want to submit an indicator for the indicator profile series. Now, chances are low that we're actually going to use it, but you can't win if you don't play, so go ahead and send it to him anyway. And then, as always, what kind of people would we be if we didn't give you a place to download these on your own? So, without further ado, let's get to the results, starting with the euro dollar. Pretty good. Just below 10% here. Nice, healthy amount of trades. Performed better on the 4-hour. Which was interesting. But this is kind of what we're used to seeing with indicators that make the cut on the indicator profile series here. Nothing too special. I do like the combination of ROI and trades for what it's worth. But things are going to start getting interesting here. And I don't just mean this week. I mean probably from this point forward until further notice. Because, let's go back to this. I don't know if we even read this line anymore. But often, these tests were run a while back, and we saved the data. Sometimes they were tested a few days ago, You never know. But assuming we actually tested these recently, which does happen sometimes, and it did happen this week, you probably also noticed that we've had a really big run-up in gold and a really, really big run-up in Bitcoin. So before we saw really good results in both of those pairs and made a big deal about them, but now I would almost expect those to become the norm because that's just how those two things move. And in our 12-month sample size, we now have an additional very large run-up in both. So when you look at gold now, I'm not saying this is something to just dismiss, but it's really, really good. But just understand that going forward, I think we're going to see these results a lot more. I could be wrong, but I would not be surprised if we do. So not only is this a testament to the indicator itself, because even look, on the default setting, as choppy as that thing looked in our example, it still did really well here. It really likes those pairs that trend heavy. Now, of course, most indicators do, but especially this one does, for whatever reason. But those are really, really nice results, a good amount of trades. I mean, there's so much to like here. Even when we go to the S&P, 16.5% is amazing. And the reason why I think Dan put it in red here is because the default setting is actually the best setting. We just could not tweak it any better than what we had right in front of us, which again, the example that we showed you was not flowing and beautiful, but it did have redeeming qualities, and those qualities showed up here. Let's end it off with Bitcoin. Big and beautiful, even on the default setting again. Really, you can almost take your pick. Do you like more trades or do you like less trades? You can almost just leave it alone. But to start your crypto algorithm from a 34% starting point and just to improve it even more and more as you go along, I mean, that's a really hard proposition to pass up on. So as always, add this to your toolbox, test the heck out of it, make your trading algorithms unstoppable. We are trying to make you unstoppable with 4 different pieces of content every week. We have a trading psychology podcast every Monday. That's probably the single most important thing I'm doing right now. Indicator profile series every Wednesday, blog every Thursday, investment podcast every Saturday. As much as I forecast rough seas ahead in the overall economy, I also see plenty of opportunities for people like us to take advantage of that. This is our time, traders. Go get it.